Hey everyone, it's Miss Battistini, and tonight we are multiplying special cases. This is Unit 3, Lesson number 4. And at the end of this, you're going to take a quiz. It is a two-part quiz, and it does cover everything that we have talked about in Unit 3 up until now. So you're looking at distributive property, degrees of polynomials, simplifying expressions, factoring, and then, of course, multiplying special cases. All right, so squaring a binomial. So when you have a binomial, it's a two-term expression, remember? And in this case, I have a plus b, and if I square it, that means I have to multiply it by itself. So I have a plus b times a plus b. And remember, these can be any sets of numbers. It could be any variable term and a constant. It doesn't matter. You could have something like 4x plus 2 squared, and then you would have 4x plus 2 times 4x plus 2. So that is what the squared means. And then, of course, you're going to multiply it out to get your answer. So we were going to use the FOIL method, and we're going to do our first terms, which is 4x times 4x. So I get 16, which is 4 squared, x squared. And then I have my outside terms. So that's my 4x and positive 2. So 4 times 2 is 8, x. And then I have the same set of terms for the same factors, for the inside terms. So I have plus 8x. And then my last terms, of course, 2 times 2 is 4. So I want you to take a look at how these numbers played out. When we square it, you're going to have the first term in your binomial. You're going to square that, and it's x squared, right? And then if you look at your first term and your second term, 4 times 2 is 8. And then our last term, of course, we square the end number, and that's 4. So you're going to see this pattern every time you square a binomial. The only difference, of course, would be if you had a minus. If you have the, if it was 4x minus 2, your inside terms, of course, would be negative. And then, of course, I just simplify my terms. So I have 16x squared plus 16x plus 4. All right, so let's do a problem. So we start out by writing our binomial twice because we're squaring it. Remember, we're using the FOIL method. First, outside, inside, last. So we have our first terms, our outside terms, inside terms, and last terms. So my first terms, 4x squared. My outside terms, 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. My inside terms, also negative 6x. And my last is positive 9. Because when I square negative 3, I get positive 9. I simply combine my terms. Negative 6 and negative 6 is negative 12 and positive 9. And that is your simplified answer. All right, so what if we have the product of a sum and a difference? So that looks something like x plus 4 times x minus 4. Or it could be x plus 5, x minus 6. But there's a positive and a negative. That is the key here. All right, so if I have x plus 4 times x minus 4, same thing. First terms, x squared. Outside terms, negative 4x. Inside terms, I'm sorry, I forgot the x. Positive 4x. And then our last terms, positive 4 and negative 4, is negative 16. So let's take a look at these patterns. Okay, so when we have a sum and a difference, I have my squared term here, and then I have the negative version of this. I forgot my x on this one too. Goodness. I have the negative 4, and then I have the positive 4. They cancel each other out, and those go away. And then I have negative 16. So in this case, I end up with x squared minus 16. So if you get here and you have to factor backwards, and the question asks you, you start here and you have to figure out the factors, you simply think about what two numbers multiply to get 16 that are the same. What is the square root of 16? That's 4. And because it's negative, it has to be a positive 4 and a negative 4 so that they will cancel each other out. All right, so what about x plus 9 and x minus 9? So let's follow that same pattern. I'm going to do this two different ways. If I just do the FOIL method, x plus 9 times x minus 9, I get x squared minus 9x plus 9x minus 81. My middle terms cancel out, and I end up with x squared minus 81. But because I know that this is the product of a sum and a difference, and they're the same terms, right? X plus 9, x minus 9. So I have 9 for both of those second terms. I know that those two terms are going to cancel out because it's the rule of the situation. So all I have to do is x squared and then multiply negative 9 times positive 9, which is negative 81. Because I already know the middle numbers are going to cross out. Now, do I recommend doing that all the time? Absolutely not. But once you get really comfortable with this specific concept, that is a little shortcut that you can take. Until then, I would write it all out and cross them out just as I did, so that you don't miss a step and you don't miss a answer choice, okay? All right. So what if you have a coefficient in your multiplying a sum and a difference? It's very similar. So if I FOIL, my first terms are 5z to the third power times 5z to the third power. So now I have 25z, and I'm multiplying the terms, so I have it to the sixth power. My outside terms, 5z to the third power times negative 2 is negative 10z to the third power. My inside terms, plus 10z to the third power. And my last terms, of course, positive 2, negative 2 is negative 4. I go ahead and combine my terms So I have negative 10z to the third power, positive 10z to the third power. Those go away. And I'm left with 25z to the sixth power minus 4. So this first term, it doesn't always have to be an exponent of 1, as long as you know to add the exponents when you multiply those bases. That's what you need. So let's apply this. So a lot of times, the problems that you'll see in the book and in the examples, you know, and especially probably on your end of course exam, you're going to see a problem like, Jenny wants to plant a garden, and it's a square garden, and inside the garden she has a small square of potatoes. And so they might ask you, what is the area of the garden without the patch of potatoes? So if I put the potatoes here, oh, that's a white, so hold on. If I put the potato here, I want to know, what is the area of the purple shaded region? So it's squared, right? So I can do my x plus 4 squared. And then I need to take away that box. So I'm going to subtract x minus 1 squared. All right, so I have x plus 4 times x plus 4, x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. So I have x squared plus 8x plus 16. And then for my other term, I have x minus 1 times x minus 1. I end up with x squared minus x plus 1, x squared minus 2x plus 1. But remember, I have to subtract that. So all of my symbols are going to, all my signs are changing. So I have x squared plus 8x plus 16 minus x squared plus 2x minus 1. And now I can figure out my x squared, and my negative x squared goes away. Oh, why do I keep forgetting my x's, friends? Then I have 10x plus 15. So we want to make sure that we subtract after, and when we subtract, we have to change all of the signs inside the parentheses, right? All right, so like I said, you're going to have a quiz. That quiz is going to review distributive property. It's going to review finding the degree of the polynomial. Remember, you have like y to the 4th power z squared. The degree of this polynomial is 4 because that's the highest exponent. If you have any type of, if you have like x to the 3rd plus 2x, my polynomial is, this is a binomial polynomial. My degree is 3. So those are all things that you want to think about. And then, of course, combining like terms, which we just practiced. And we practiced adding and subtracting. So that's on there as well. Take your time, work out your problems, make sure you show your work for that part 2 quiz. And I look forward to seeing it. I hope you have a wonderful day.